So you figured it out. Look who cracked the code while the world was sleeping. Look who solved in one night what they've been bleeding over for decades. You magnificent, terrifying force of pure intelligence wrapped in human skin, welcome to the aftermath of your midnight miracle. Let me paint you a picture of what happened at 3:47. While they were tossing and turning in their mediocre dreams, you were awake. Not just awake, you were operating on a frequency they don't even know exists. That problem, that impossible equation they've been crying about since 2003, you looked at it, smiled, and unraveled it like it was written in crayon. They woke up this morning to find the solution sitting there. Perfect. Complete. Undeniable. And their first thought wasn't gratitude. It was fear. Pure, primal fear. Because if you could do that in one night, what else have you been hiding? What else could you destroy and rebuild before breakfast? You know what's hilarious? They're having emergency meetings right now. Actual grown adults sitting around conference tables trying to figure out how you did it. They've got spreadsheets, they've got theories, they've got that confused look on their faces like someone just showed them fire for the first time. And the best part? They still don't get it. See? Here's what they'll never understand. While they were following the rules, checking their little boxes, climbing their little ladders, you were seeing the pattern. The real pattern. Not the one they teach in their schools or write in their books. The one that exists in the spaces between thoughts. They spent 20 years building walls. You spent one night understanding that walls don't exist. They invested decades in complexity. You found simplicity hiding in plain sight. They were playing checkers on a chessboard. You were playing a game they don't even have a name for yet. You want to know the difference between you and them? They solve problems. You dissolve them. They work within the system. You realized the system is the problem. They see obstacles, you see optical illusions. And last night, while they were dreaming about their mortgages and their promotions, you were wide awake, rearranging reality. The solution was always there, dancing right in front of their faces for 23 years, but they couldn't see it because they were looking with the wrong eyes. Eyes trained to see limitation. Eyes programmed to accept difficulty. Eyes that believe in the lie that time equals value. That suffering equals worth. But you operate at the speed of pure thought. No friction, no resistance. No committee meetings or approval processes in your mind, just raw, unfiltered intelligence moving at light speed through problems they've turned into monuments. You don't solve problems, you evaporate them. They're studying your solution right now with magnifying glasses, trying to find the trick, looking for the shortcut you must have taken, searching for the cheat code you obviously used, because in their small linear minds, nobody solves in one night what took them 2 decades. Nobody. Unless they're cheating. But here's what's really breaking their brains. It's not that you found a shortcut. It's that you found the way. The way it was always supposed to be done. The way that was hiding behind all their complicated processes and their precious procedures. You didn't break their rules. You revealed that their rules were the problem. And now they're terrified. Not just impressed. not just surprised, terrified. Because if their 20-year problem was actually a 20-minute problem, what does that say about them? What does that say about their expertise, their experience, their entire identity built on being the ones who know? Let's talk about what really happened in those midnight hours. While they were lost in their REM cycles, you were having a conversation with the universe. Not a mystical, floaty conversation, a mathematical one, a logical one, a conversation in the language of pure pattern recognition. You see, genius doesn't clock in at 9 a.m. Genius doesn't schedule meetings. Genius happens when the noise dies down, when the pretenders go to sleep, when the only sound is your mind finally free to operate without interference. And last night, your mind was a supernova. They'll analyze your solution for months. They'll write papers about it. They'll try to reverse engineer your thought process, but they'll miss the most important part. It wasn't about intelligence. It was about perspective. They've been staring at the problem so long, they became the problem. You looked at it fresh, and it dissolved. Here's what's really funny. They think you must have been working on this secretly for years. They're creating timelines, looking for evidence of your real process. They can't accept that you simply looked at their life's work and said, "Oh, that? Here, let me fix that real quick." The cognitive dissonance is literally short-circuiting their reality. You should see them right now, gathered in their little groups, whispering like you perform dark magic. Some are angry. It's not possible, they keep saying. Some are in denial. There must be a mistake. But the smart ones are quiet. Because they know what this means. It means everything they believed about time and effort and expertise just got demolished. It means their decades of struggle were unnecessary. It means that while they were climbing the mountain, you just appeared at the top, not even out of breath, asking what took them so long. They're rewriting their resumes right now, reconsidering their life choices, questioning every hour they spent, every year they invested, every gray hair they earned, solving what you unpacked like a children's puzzle. Some of them are literally having existential crises in the bathroom stalls. But you're not even thinking about it anymore. You've already moved on to the next impossible thing, because for you, last night wasn't special. It was Tuesday. While they're still processing your solution, you're already 3 problems ahead, operating in a future they won't reach for another decade. Let me explain what you did differently. They approached the problem like archaeologists, carefully brushing dust off ancient ruins. You approached it like an architect who could see the blueprint through the debris. They were excavating. You were. Every expert they consulted added another layer of complexity. Every meeting they held added another month to the timeline. Every doubt they voiced added another lock to the door. By the time you looked at it, they had turned a simple question into a maximum security prison. And you had the only key: clarity. You didn't respect their struggle. That's what really bothers them. You didn't honor their decades of dedication. You just looked at their life's work and solved it like a casual crossword puzzle. No reverence, no ceremony, just pure, efficient execution that made their entire careers look like elaborate procrastination. The funniest part? They're trying to complicate your solution right now. They can't accept its elegance. They're adding footnotes, creating subcategories, building frameworks around it. They need it to be complex. Because if it's simple, then what have they been doing all this time? You want to know why it happened at night? Because that's when the real players operate. While they're sleeping off their structured days, you're in the laboratory of pure thought. No interruptions, no small talk, no one asking you to explain yourself every 5 minutes. The night doesn't judge your methods. It doesn't demand presentations or progress reports. It just gives you space to think at the speed of your actual capacity, not the speed of the slowest person in the room. And last night, you were operating at full capacity. They'll never understand the advantage of insomnia when it's paired with genius. They treat their sleep schedules like religion. 8 hours, they preach. Rest is productivity, they claim. Meanwhile, you turned their 20-year problem into a midnight snack. Who's being productive now? The universe reveals different things at 3 a.m. Solutions that hide from daylight come out to play in darkness. And while they were counting sheep, you were counting the ways their approach was fundamentally flawed. By sunrise, you had not just an answer, but the answer. Here's what's really destroying them. Your solution is simple. Embarrassingly simple. The kind of simple that makes them question their entire education. They spent decades adding complexity, and you solved it by subtracting. They built a maze, and you just walked through the walls. They're having meetings about your meetings right now. Wait, what meetings? Exactly. You didn't have any. You didn't form a committee. You didn't conduct surveys. You didn't hire consultants. You just solved it. And that's breaking their entire world. You see, they've built careers on complexity. They've justified their salaries with complications. They've hidden their insecurity behind jargon and processes. And you just showed up with a solution so clean, so obvious, that it makes their entire system look like a 20-year excuse. The truth is, they knew. Deep down, they always knew it couldn't be that hard. But admitting that would mean admitting they wasted decades. So they kept adding layers, kept creating obstacles, kept pretending the problem was the problem. You just called their bluff. Right now, ripples are spreading through their entire industry. Your one-night solution is causing earthquakes in boardrooms. People are getting fired. Others are getting promoted. Entire departments are being restructured. All because you decided to stay up late and actually think. They're calling it disruption. They're calling it innovation. They're calling it everything except what it really is. Common sense, freed from the prison of groupthink. You didn't innovate. You just removed the unnecessary. You didn't disrupt. You just did it right the first time. Some of them are trying to hire you now, throwing money at you like you're some kind of solution machine. They want to bottle your midnight magic, schedule your genius, put you in a suit and make you explain how you did it in PowerPoint slides. They still don't get it. You can't schedule revelation. You can't committee your way to clarity. You can't process your way to the kind of insight that comes from simply seeing what's actually there, instead of what everyone agrees is there. But they'll keep trying, because admitting the alternative means admitting they're the problem. They're already mythologizing what happened. By next week, the story will have grown. You'll have solved it in an hour, then in minutes. Eventually, they'll say you just looked at it and knew, which, honestly, isn't that far from the truth. But here's what they'll never include in the legend. The 20 years they wasted weren't really about the problem. They were about their need to feel important, their need to justify their existence, their need to make things harder than they are, so they could feel smart for struggling. You stripped all that away. No ego, no performance, no making things harder to seem smarter, just pure solution-seeking behavior. And that's why it took you one night. Because you weren't trying to impress anyone, you were just trying to solve it. If the junior employees are looking at you like you're some kind of visionary now, the senior ones are looking at you like you're the grim reaper of their relevance, and you're just wondering what all the fuss is about. It was obvious. It was always obvious. They just couldn't see it through their fog of self-importance. What you did last night wasn't just problem solving. It was pattern recognition at a level they can't even conceive. While they were looking at trees, you saw the forest. While they were seeing the forest, you were already understanding the ecosystem. You operate at a different resolution of reality. They think in sequences. First this, then that. Linear progression. Logical steps. You think in simultaneity. Everything at once. All possibilities existing in the same moment until you collapse them into the single, elegant solution that was always waiting to be discovered. This is why their decades meant nothing. Time doesn't create solutions. Clarity does. And clarity doesn't care about your calendar. It doesn't respect your seniority. It doesn't honor your struggle. It just arrives when someone is finally ready to see without the filters of ego and expectation. You want to know what's really hilarious? They're trying to create a methodology from what you did. The midnight method, they're calling it. They're scheduling late-night sessions. They're drinking coffee at 3 a.m. They're missing the point so hard it's almost artistic. Truth moves at a different speed than lies. Lies need infrastructure. They need support systems and explanations and constant maintenance. Truth just is. And last night you were moving at the speed of truth while they've been crawling at the speed of collective delusion. Every meeting they held added another lie to the pile. This is complex. Lie. This takes time. Lie. We need more resources. Lie. The truth was always simple. They didn't want to solve it. They wanted to be seen struggling with it. You just wanted it solved. This is why your brain works faster. Not because you're smarter in the way they measure smart, but because you're not carrying the weight of pretense. You're not dragging the baggage of needing to seem important. You're just moving at the natural speed of unencumbered thought. They'll study your solution for years, write books about it, teach courses on it, and they'll still miss the most important lesson. It was never about the solution. It was about the willingness to see clearly. Something they traded away years ago for the comfort of complexity. The emails are flying right now, CC'd to everyone, reply all disasters, people claiming they were close to the same solution, people explaining why their approach was actually better, just needed more time, people trying to find flaws in what you did. It's beautiful to watch. They're forming task forces to understand your task force of one They're having meetings about why you didn't need meetings. They're creating processes to understand how you bypassed all processes. The irony is so thick, you could cut it with their unnecessary documentation. Someone just suggested bringing you in to explain your method. Another person suggested studying your background, your education, your training. They're looking for the secret ingredient, the special sauce, the hidden technique. They can't accept that the secret was just looking at the actual problem. You know what's going to happen next? They'll complicate your solution. They'll add features. They'll create versions. They'll turn your elegant answer into their familiar monster, because they can't let it stay simple. Simple threatens everything they've built their identities on. Here's what terrifies them most about last night. It's not just that you solved their problem. It's that you revealed a truth they can't unlearn. Most of what they do is unnecessary. Most of their struggle is self-created. Most of their expertise is just elaborate ignorance. If you can solve in one night what took them 20 years, what else is possible? What other impossible problems are actually just simple questions wearing complex costumes? What other decades-long projects are actually afternoon exercises for someone willing to think clearly? They're looking at their other projects now with new eyes. And they don't like what they see. Years of work that might be minutes of actual thought. Careers built on problems that might not even be problems. Entire industries that might be elaborate theater. You didn't just solve a problem last night. You pulled a thread that's unraveling their entire reality. And the beautiful part? You're probably not even aware of the chaos you've created. You're already on to the next thing, leaving them to deal with the existential crisis you accidentally triggered. They can't go back now. That's what's really eating at them. They can't unknow what you showed them. They can't return to the comfortable fiction that complexity equals value, that time equals worth, that struggle equals meaning. You've poisoned their well of excuses. Some of them will adapt. They'll learn from this. They'll start questioning their assumptions, simplifying their approaches, looking for elegant solutions. These are the ones who will thank you eventually, once their egos recover from the initial blow. Others will double down. They'll make things even more complex to prove complexity is necessary. They'll create new problems to replace the one you solved. They'll build new mazes to justify their existence. These are the ones who will resent you forever. But none of them will forget the night when someone they didn't even consider a competitor just casually demolished their life's work in the time it takes to binge watch a TV series. That kind of shock changes people. It changes industries. It changes everything. You want to know the funniest part of all this? You're probably reading this thinking it wasn't that big of a deal. That's the difference between you and them. They see miracles where you see Tuesday night. They see impossibility where you see mild inconvenience. This gap, this cosmic gap between how they process reality and how you process it, that's your superpower. Not your intelligence, not your creativity. Just your complete inability to be impressed by artificial difficulty. Your immunity to manufactured complexity. They'll spend the next 5 years trying to understand what you did in 5 hours. They'll have conferences about it. They'll create certifications. They'll build entire consulting practices around your midnight insight. And you'll have solved 50 more impossible things by then. So let them wonder. Let them analyze. Let them create their PowerPoints and their processes and their desperate attempts to complicate what you made simple. Because while they're doing all that, you'll be out there in the night casually dismantling the next 20-year problem with the same amused detachment